So why should you learn how to sell? We need to learn how to sell because a sale is always happening. When you run into a client, you start working with somebody, one thing is going to happen. Either you're going to sell them on your benefits of your service and why they need that, and at that point you both win. You know they win because your service is worth it. You guys know what's capable with hypnosis, with NLP, with time techniques. You know what can happen. So you know the service is worth it. So you both win. You both benefit. If you don't sell them on why your service is beneficial for them, they sell you on their limitations. One of two sales is always, always happening. And I know that if they sell me on their limitations, we both lose. So there's 5 keys, I believe, to selling. The first key is rapport. Everything should happen. All this selling, change, all sessions should always be happening in rapport. With that feeling of likeness with somebody, right? The feeling like they're like you, or they do like you. And that happens from not so much opposing somebody. When you oppose somebody, they say, I believe this, and you say, no, I believe that, you should change. Usually resistance happens, and the sale never consummates. Rather, what we've learned in NLP is the best salesmen come from an area and a perspective of beside you, not confronting you. So they come around and say, hey buddy, I totally understand what you're saying. I totally appreciate that. And I also think that it's good to do this. And all of a sudden, from that feeling of rapport, anything can happen. Second key, find their value and deliver their value. What you'll find out is what's important to you is most likely not important to your client. So for instance, have you guys ever had this experience? You go to buy a car, and when you go on the lot, the dealer's saying, oh, you'll love this car because it has this kind of engine and it goes this fast and has all this stuff, and you're sitting there thinking, yeah, but does it come in blue? What's the radio like? I wonder if the seats are comfortable, because the last car I had really uncomfortable seats. Your value might be comfortable seats, their value was engine performance. Are those two very different values? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely, right? So if you're the salesman and you're trying to deliver your own values, you don't get through to somebody. So it's very simple. You listen to them. You say, what would you be looking for in a car? What's most important to you? You can find a value in one simple way. What's most important to you about this blank? Right? What's the most important thing to you as far as hypnosis goes? What's most important to you about having an NLP session? What would you like to have happen? They'll tell you. They'll say, well, the most important thing is that the change sticks. Or the most important thing is that someone understands me. Because I've been to therapy and they never understand me, right? If that's their value, all you do is deliver their value back to them and say, well, that's great. Because that's actually one of our highest priorities, is I want to make sure that all my clients feel understood. That nobody gets, shied away from. Or you might say, yeah, exactly, that's my highest value too. I want to make sure that, the money spent, the investment spent is worth the time, is worth the money, and you see the value in that. That's where we come from. So you literally just deliver their value back to them. Does that make sense? They'll usually tell you either what their value is, or they'll give you a key word. When they give you a key word, all you do is feed the key word back to them. You say, I'm really looking for a powerful session. One that just, it's powerful, just makes me transform. And you say, that's awesome. Most of my clients feel they've had a very powerful session when they work with me. You fed back their keyword, their value to them, and then all of a sudden they think, wow, I like this person. I like this hypnotist. I'm going to work with them. All because you gave them one word, their word, right? Also, use their communication model. If you use their communication model, the message will really resonate with them. So at the practitioner level, we teach you how to speak in their communication model, just like Virginia Satir did. We use the NLP model of communication that we learned last night, as well as learning that some people speak in a visual way, some people speak in an auditory way, some people speak in a kinesthetic feeling type of way. When you listen to their predicates, listen to their words, the way they deliver it, the rate of their speech, what they're doing with their eye patterns we learn about, you can gauge all of that and find out what type of person they're being, what person they tend to act like, what modalities they go in, and then you can feed them back in that way. You can communicate back to them in that way, and they'll hear you. Third key, handle objections first. Don't wait till the end. Don't wait until you're trying to get them to give you the credit card number to pay for the session. Handle objections first. Now here's what's cool. Their clients have certain objections. Every objection can be overcome. If you go with that belief that every objection can be overcome, you'll have massive good results. Most clients will run one of only 4 patterns, and these are different than the earlier patterns of problems and excuses. These are specific sales objections. There's only 4 patterns that the clients will run. We'll talk about those in just a second. If you help them discover why these are just excuses that successful people do not use. Successful people come across one of these excuses and they say, you know what? That's an excuse. I can find a resource around it. Okay? So the 4 objections people run into. The first one is one of the most obvious. They say, I'd love to take your service, but I don't have the money, right? I'd love to do it, but I just don't have the money. Money. The second one they do, this is my favorite one, I'd love to do a breakthrough session with you, but when am I going to get the time, right? I don't have the time for that, that's 8 hours. Or I talk to people on the phone, calling from the internet, and they say, I want to take your NLP training. 7 days? Oh my God, when am I going to get the time for that? I don't have the time. And they'll say a number of other things. They'll say other things that are examples of time and money. They'll say things, like, well, I don't have the education for that. I don't think I'm intelligent enough. I haven't read enough books yet, something like that. Now, what do these things all have in common? The one thing I believe they have in common is every one of these excuses is a resource. They're a resource. Resources can be found, can be discovered, can be attracted into life very easily. Resources. What's the ultimate resource? What's the ultimate resource we have?
Energy.
Unconscious mind.
Energy, unconscious mind. And all of that is resourcefulness. When you think about this, when you have to do something, right? When life depends on it, remember I gave the example of someone in the hospital that you really care about, right? When that thing is happening, you will find the time, you will find the money, you will find whatever resources you need. Have you ever been committed to a project, committed to a nonprofit, or committed to starting a company, something like that? And if you're committed to that project, nothing will stop you, right? You will stop at nothing. You will go to bank after bank after bank to find the loan, to make it happen. Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield, when they wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, they went to, I think it was 200 and some odd publishers before someone finally picked them up. They are rejected after rejected after rejected. Now they could have said, oh, I guess we just don't have the talent. I guess we just don't have the right book, right? Everybody told us no. But they were so committed, they said, I need to do this. This is for me, no matter what, this is happening. That they found everything. They found the money, they found the time, they found the publisher. And all of a sudden somebody picked it up, and now they've sold over, 200 million copies? Most successful book in print of all time. Most successful series, at any rate. So I invite you to let go of the idea of needing to find resources and adopt the idea of finding resourcefulness. Resourcefulness. That's what it says. Find your own resourcefulness. Resourcefulness comes from within. Nobody can give it to you, but it's something that you can always find.